Hey guys, and welcome back to DarkLogic Studios' Attack on Titan theories and discussions. Before we go any further, I want to give you fair warning that these videos are going to contain lots and lots of spoilers. So if you're not caught up with the manga, then what are you doing with your life? Seriously though, if you don't want spoilers, you should probably click on something else. If you're all caught up though, then let's get to it. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to my discussion video about chapter 95. So as much as I'm loving Reiner's backstory and learning about how messed up his freaking past is, I'm not going to be talking about him in this video. Sorry Reiner, I already spent almost 30 minutes talking about you. You're an awesome character, but something way more important happened this chapter that we gotta talk about first. Now, I will say that I think Levi is going to have to give up his most tormented character in Attack on Titan trophy and give it to Reiner, because damn. But anyway, in this chapter, you know what happened this chapter, the thing that everyone's been talking about. Who and what the 9th Titan is going to be has been revealed. Well, at least part of it, sort of. Maybe like 30%. Now, we don't really know what the 9th Titan is, and we don't know who it is yet, who has it. But we know, according to what Zeke said in this chapter, they're held by the Tybur family, which is a family of Eldian nobles, and apparently the first one that betrayed King Fritz and switched sides over to the Marley during the 100-Year Titan War. Now, I just want to say right now that I'm with Galliard on this. I think this is kind of bullshit, and I'm going to explain why in a minute, because I don't think that the Warhammer Titan is actually with the Tybur family. But first, I want to talk about some theories about what the Warhammer Titan actually is. Now, if we look back to chapter 86, we do actually have evidence of this Titan, little hints that were slipped in way back when, because in 2 different panels in the illustrations in these Marleyan history books, we have 2 different instances of a Titan holding a giant hammer. And some of you guys had an interesting theory about this Titan. One thing that a lot of people thought of when referring to a Warhammer was Thor. And given that Isayama was heavily inspired by Norse mythology, as we talked about in one of my videos about Ymir a while back, because the name Ymir is directly out of Norse mythology, and if you look more into it, you can see all kinds of interesting connections between Attack on Titan. I recommend looking it up. But anyway, now obviously this Titan isn't literally going to be Thor, but could be possible that this Titan was inspired by Thor. So what could that mean? Is this Titan literally going to have a giant powerful warhammer he just goes around busting shit up with? And could this Titan fly? Like we were talking about, because of what the general said about a flying Titan, and because of Falco's name, and my whole theory about him possibly being the 9th Titan, having been born with these shifter powers, possibly, and becoming some kind of flying Titan. If this Titan is inspired by Thor, well, Thor is a demigod and he can fly, so maybe the Titan will be able to fly. We don't know yet. But anyway, when we do see the 9th Titan, this Warhammer Titan, I think it's safe to say it's going to be a lot scarier than Thor. So let's move on to the Tybur family. Now there's a lot of theories going around about this family, who they are, who they're connected to, what exactly is going on in this story, and I can't cover all of them, but I do want to share my thoughts about this family and why I think the notion that they have possession or still have possession of the Warhammer Titan after all this time is bunk. Okay, so first of all, like I said before, Galliard himself in the story points out that there's some not quite right going on here. Like, none of this really makes a lot of sense. And maybe some of you guys think I'm just pulling for strings here, and that's fine. Maybe I am, but if there's anything that I've learned between Ymir and Kruger, it's to never take anybody's word for anything in this story. Like I'm telling you guys, we've already been fooled too many times to be gullible enough by now to take anything that anybody says in this story at face value. Now another thing is the way that this Titan shifter was introduced. It seems a little half-handed. Like, this has been a big topic for a while now. Everybody's been theorizing about this and talking about it, and then it's just revealed in a boring little conversation over tea. I don't know about that, guys. And I think, again, that this might be another red herring. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with that term, a red herring is is something that is intended to mislead you or misguide you to the wrong conclusion. Ymir was a red herring. The story of Ymir in the Marleyan propaganda was a red herring. Like, when she found that can of herring, that was kind of clever, because it's kind of like a big red flag saying, hey, something about Ymir is bullshit. And of course later on we had this whole chapter, quote unquote, revealing that Ymir had made a deal with the devil or whatever, and everybody was wondering, is the Ymir they're talking about the same Ymir that we know, and blah blah blah, like, is she a goddess or whatever? And then chapter or two later we find out that no, she was just an orphan kid who had been used as a tool for somebody else to gain power and money, and she herself had even come to believe that she was the goddess Ymir in a way, until she was forced to face the truth that her whole life was a lie. And we too, as an audience, had to go through that. Like, we thought, well, at least a lot of people thought, that this story about the devil and Ymir was the truth. Some people still think that for some reason. I was pretty suspicious about it from the beginning, but what bothers me is that I had gone that direction anyway because so many people were talking about it. Like, I had thought in the back of my head that Ymir, one alternate real-world possibility could be that she was simply taken and named Ymir and used in the same way she was used in the manga that her backstory explains. Like, I had thought about that, but I never said it because I thought that would be so underwhelming, and like, who would have thought that that's the direction it was gonna go? But that's what happened, and it ended up being really poignant and really tragic story. Like, the way Isayama did it was brilliant. Like, I don't know how he does this. He can manage to take storylines that you wouldn't think would be that interesting and really craft something really deep and meaningful with it. Anyway, I digress. There is just too much in this story that has been told to us and turned out not to be true for us to just go ahead and believe that, okay, these random ass people have the ninth Titan. I just don't buy it. I think that what Zeke is saying about the Tybur family is probably true. I think that they probably were the first noble family to defy the Fritz King. I think that that gained them their status among the Marley, and I think that they did in fact have the Warhammer Titan at the time, but I do not believe they have it anymore. And just like Galliard said, it's very suspect that they've had this Titan called the Warhammer Titan. I mean, just based on its name, sounds like it could be even more powerful than all of our other Titans. I mean, it sounds like it was literally made for war, so... And the fact that Marley have allowed that and allowed them to live this life of luxury without really contributing to the Marleyan government's aspirations of world domination. So why would they even do that? Why, if the Marleyans are such warmongers, and if they want to go around and take over everything, and they're freaking willing to take human beings and inject them with freaking spinal fluid and turn them into Titans and drop them on their enemies, like, the Marley are not... the Marley don't seem like they're afraid to cross a lot of lines. Like they don't seem to have too many boundaries. Seems like whatever they want, they're gonna take it, and they're gonna do whatever they can to get it. And it doesn't matter how fucked up they have to be to do it. Like, they'll torture people, they'll turn people into Titans and drop them on other people, and like, the Marley don't really seem to give a fuck about anything. So what the hell is stopping them from forcing this family to use their Titan in war? If this war shit is so important to them, then why would they allow this family to live their life of luxury without contributing to the war effort? And the answer, I think, has to be that at some point the Tybur family lost the Warhammer Titan. This could have been sometime during the 100 years after the Titan War. Maybe somebody died with the Titan power and it was lost that way, because we've been teasing at this idea of somebody being born a Titan shifter if a Titan shifter dies without passing on the power, and this has to come into play somehow. So if there's not at least one Titan shifter that is not transferred in this way sometime during this story, all that foreshadowing is going to be totally pointless. So this has to happen at some point. Now, is that going to be the case with the Warhammer Titan? I don't know, but it could be. I mean, we don't even have solid proof that the Tybur family have the Warhammer Titan and it's in their possession. Again, as we've seen over and over in this manga, we can't take everything at face value just based on the conversations that people are having, because just about every single time the information that we're given is not 100% accurate, or it's just bits and pieces of information, and a lot of times it turns out not quite being what we were expecting or what it was leading us on to believe. Again, just like Ymir. We thought she was supposed to be a goddess, but turns out she was just an orphan. So just because Zeke is saying that the Tybur family have the Warhammer Titan, that doesn't necessarily mean that that is proof that they have the Warhammer Titan. Was it a possibility that they may have actually lost this Titan and they just covered it up or something? They never admitted it, and maybe the Marley even knew about this and they covered it up too for whatever reason. They could have their own reasons for wanting to keep the Tybur family in power, because since they were the first Eldian nobles to defy King Fritz, and they apparently hold a lot of weight in the public eye, keeping them as allies and keeping them in power and helping them cover up the fact that they lost their Titan, because if it had become public that they lost their Titan, they probably would not be the power that they are. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that the Marley would have helped to cover up the fact that the Tybur family lost the Warhammer Titan at the end of the war in order to use their influential power to their advantage. So where exactly does the Attack Titan fall into all this? Now, I've gone back and forth as to whether I think the Attack Titan was from Paradis originally or from the Marley, because as we know, based on the Marleyan history books, the Eldians had 2 Titans left over and the Marley had stolen 7 of them. So if the Tybur family do have the Warhammer Titan, then that means that obviously the Attack Titan must have been the second one from Paradis Island. But how could that be? How could Kruger have gotten a hold of the Attack Titan if it was all the way on Paradis Island? He must have had help. And you might think, well, what I said before, if my theory is true about the Warhammer Titan being a red herring, then that must mean that the Attack Titan must have been one of the 7 from the Marley. That's actually not true. Whether the Warhammer Titan is a red herring or not, whether the Tybur family actually still have possession of it, it doesn't matter, because there still has to be a second Titan that the public knew about, that the Eldians had control of after the Titan War. And if what I said earlier is true about the Marleyans helping the Tybur family cover up the fact that they lost their Titan, then they wouldn't count that one. So the Attack Titan still has to be the second one from Paradis Island. But I'm not going to talk about that in this video. I'm going to wrap this up, but I am going to do another video about this topic. And I'm also going to do a video about the theory that the Tybur family may actually be connected to the Arlert family, as in Armin's family. Now, as some of you may remember, my very first Attack on Titan theories video was about Armin possibly being related to the Reese family. And tomorrow, July 18th, is actually the 1-year anniversary to when I posted that first video. So this channel, as it is in essence, is turning a year old. So yay! It's been an awesome year, you guys. So I'm going to do a special video and I'm going to revisit the Armin Reese theory, and I'm going to take a look at the possibility that the Arlert family might actually be connected to the Tybur family, because there could actually be something there. So come back for those. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for 3,000 subscribers. I'm gonna have to do a special video for that too. And tell me your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of this Tybur family? Do you think they have the Warhammer Titan? Do you think it could be a fake out? Do you think I'm just grasping at strings here? Tell me your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And remember to check out my Patreon, and consider making a monthly pledge to help support my channel. Thanks as always for your support, and I'll see you next time. Peace.